My name is Herforth Nielsen. I'm the founder of 3XN, and we are here because we are at the opening of our office here in Stockholm. We have now been working for 6-7 years in Sweden, and we're just opening up an office here now, so we are closer to where everything happens. Yeah.
What do you mean with where everything happens?
I mean, where our jobs here in Stockholm happens. Actually, it is like that we have more work in Stockholm than we have in Copenhagen. So we felt it was very natural for us to open an office here, so we can be closer to the clients, and the clients can get direct service here from us too.
But you recently, the new head office for Swedbank was completed, and you're working on the new subway station at Odenplan, and also this new, high-rise, maybe you can call it, right opposite the central station. But I guess you, when you're opening an office here, intend to stay when those projects are completed. Is that correct?
Yeah. Actually, today we were at the Swedbank project too, and I'm coming here not next week, the week after next week, with some Australian clients too. So we follow the projects very often after we finish them. We follow them to see how they're functioning. Very often there's a lot of things that has to be adjusted anyway. But it is very important for us to learn from one project to the next. So we have an IT psychologist at our work too. And sometimes we send her out to analyze how it's going afterwards, to see if it's walking the talk, so to speak. We have some ideas behind what we design, and it's very important for us that they live up to our ideas too. So I think it's very important for us. It is very important for us to follow it afterwards. And then, of course, we always use them as showcases afterwards. Like we're taking now, we have a big client. We won a big competition in Sydney, as far away as you can come, more or less. And we brought them all the way over here to Europe. We're not only going to Sweden, we're going to other places in Europe together with them too, and of course Denmark. But then we're taking them to Stockholm to show them the Swedbank building as well.
Yeah, but I mean, now that you have an office here in Stockholm, which means a sort of permanent presence, is that also a way of getting new work in Sweden? Is that the idea?
It will eventually do that. I think things are still being developed in Denmark, because I like things to be developed around where I am too and where the partners are. We have one partner here, Anders, here in Stockholm, and I'm quite sure he'll drive up some work as well, of course. But it is mostly to be able to service our clients while we're here. We very often get that question. What will you do when the design process is going? How can we reach you? Even that it takes only 1 hour to fly from Copenhagen. I think a client very much would like to just drop by if necessary, or get somebody to drop by from the offices if necessary, to follow up on things. And we can do that now in a better way. Before we started this office, we worked together with the local offices, as we normally do when we work abroad. And that can be a good idea in some cases. But I feel that Swedish culture and Danish culture is so close together in many ways, even that they are a little bit different. They are still very close together. We're like cousins, I think. And the building laws, the whole system here is very close to what it is in Denmark too, in Copenhagen. So in that way, it's not difficult for us to perform with the authorities here in Stockholm.
But speaking of culture, in the Swedish architectural debate, Denmark is often mentioned as a sort of example for us to follow. Do you have any thoughts on that? Is that true or false?
Yeah, I hear that too, of course. It has a little bit to do with how the tradition is in that's actually the biggest difference in the cultures. Sweden is mostly very big companies, and Denmark is normally very small companies. Of course, there are big companies in Denmark too, and there are small companies in Sweden too. But
are you talking about the architectural business now?
I'm talking about all business in general, and the same has happened in the architectural business too. I think you have architectural engineer businesses that are far bigger than we have in Denmark as well. That's one thing. The other thing is that you have develop another culture of a contractor-driven development. So it has been for decades more usual to have the contractors to drive the building process. So it had minimized a little bit the role of the architect. That is changing now. I feel in Sweden very much. I feel a big change. I don't know. You know more about it than I do. But in Denmark, the tradition has been the opposite for decades too. That it has been more driven by the architects, and then the contractors have made bids. We have total contractors, of course, in Denmark, but they are not that big a part of the building process as they are and have been in Sweden. And that has made a difference between the cultures and the works for architects in Sweden and Denmark. So that has made a difference in how architects are usually perform, if you understand.
Yeah, but what, in your opinion, is needed to create a culture where the architect has a strong position?
Yeah, they have. Again, I think things are developing. This just in the time I've been here working here in Stockholm, I felt a change, and where the architects are now getting a stronger position. I don't know how you think about it, but this is how I feel it anyway. Whereas it hasn't been that usual here. Very often the architect has come up with a concept, and then the contractor has taken over, developed all the project drawings, and interior architect has done the interior. It's more normal that an architect in Denmark that does the whole design, outside, inside, all the production drawings, even run the building process and do the interior as well. So I think that has been the biggest difference in the culture in general. Of course, you have the same. You can have the same. Gerd Wingård, for example, I've seen a lot of his buildings. He's designed from inside out and all the way through too. So I think you can find a lot of examples on the opposite. I'm just talking about what has been general. Yeah.
Your office here is just opposite the opera and the opera house in Stockholm, and just a short stone's throw from the site where they're going to build a Nobel Center, in which competition you were also competing in. Do you have any comment on the competition?
Yeah, I don't know what to say. It was, of course, a very exciting competition to be invited to, and they invited 12 architects. And one stepped out before it started up. Herforth Nielsen stepped out before, and there was a little bit of rumor about why they stepped out. And well, I don't know if I should comment on that, but I think I was, of course, a little bit disappointed about the result. We were maybe too confident in that we would come into the second round of this and try to prove it, but that was not the case. What they're getting now is a more conservative building, and I don't know. Maybe I think Stockholm and that site, we just went by the site here today. The site could have something very exciting. When they started up the competition, they started about this was a chance to make a landmark, to make something for Stockholm, like the Eiffel Tower or whatever, that the people would or the opera building in Sydney, that people would remember Stockholm for and would come on all the postcards. I think it'll be a fair, okay building that Tiberfield, who won the competition, is now designing. But it will not be a building that will be on the postcards, and when you see that building, you will think this is Stockholm. So I think that in that sense, I think it's a missed opportunity for Stockholm.
Is that the sort of the dream of every architect, to create such a building?
Of course it is. Cannot deny that. I think architects are here for a lot of different reasons, but of course, if I, in my position, didn't have the dream about making an icon for a country or for a city, I would be I'll be lying. Of course, that when Jørgen Utzon, he made the opera house, he achieved more than any architect can ever think about achieving in making a symbol for a whole country. In the same way, I think it's very, very important for us architects to do. We have a social obligations to do buildings for people. But I don't think there should be a contradiction about doing something that could be a symbol for a city or for a country, and do something for people. But we have an obligation to do to form the societies, to form the cities, so they're livable for people. That's our first obligation, of course.